Hey guys, welcome. So I've been watching a lot of rap videos and rap artists doing interviews with a bunch of radio stations and even old interviews. I'm always fascinated what they have to say about their craft, how they got so good at it. And one of the things that I notice that each individual artist says that they learn the history of the craft, and they knew the history of rap, especially. Um, that's something that hit me really hard because in finance and in investment, I did the same. Where I went into the history of investing. I wanted to know who were the big players. I was really curious how everything was put together, how everything works, and I know it's really confusing at first if you're trying to jump into it. In this video, I'm just gonna go over the movies that I watch to help me understand the stock market. Not only the stock market, just understand business. The first three movies I'm gonna give you guys, they're mostly about what not to do as a business, and how, as an investor looking outside, what to look for so you don't get burned if companies are doing these practices. So stay tuned for those three videos or three movies. Welcome guys to Simple Chew. I'm your host Hank, and so we're gonna go quickly the three movies that I recommend every investor, especially if you're a beginner investor, that you should watch. These are the three movies that I watch and I continuously watch to learn the history of corporations, how they work, because that is what we're investing in. We try and buy a piece of a company, and we want to know if that company is going to be profitable in the long run if you're a long-term investor. Like the rap industry, where the artists learn all the lyrics, they learn the music from the beginning of rap. I try to do the same with this whole investment world, where I want to know who are the big winners, who's doing really well in the investment, all the way from the beginning to now. I'm always want to know who's on top, and not to mimic, because if you can see a lot of rappers don't they have like they come from the same tree, but they branch out onto their own thing. So that's what we are trying to do at the same time with the big winners. And the first movie that I recommend watching is the Enron movie, The Smartest Guys in the Room. Is the name of the movie. It's one of the classic movies of a scandal and a corporation in the modern era, especially. There's been a bunch of scandals in the past, but this one is the one that made a huge impact in the financial world of just the trading and investment world, but also in the accounting practices of corporations and accounting companies and firms, that they were not handling well the practice of accounting. And accounting has been around since forever, ever since we had societies. So accounting hasn't changed a lot, and when companies get creative for accounting, as I come from accounting background, you know it's trouble. Every time you read a financial report from every company, they are playing around with the accounting, trying to be fancy, trying new techniques. Most likely there's trouble in there. There's something wrong that they don't want their investors to know, their shareholders to know. And I think Enron documentary and the whole scandal really brings it out, what it means when companies play with their accounting practices, or upper management doesn't understand meanings, or there's a bunch of things that are going on this documentary. And I think everybody has depending on your background, you can pick up things that, maybe at the end is greed, I think, in my opinion, but also I think there's a little bit of ignorance, or both the accounting firms and Enron didn't understand um, what they were booking in their books and representing to the shareholders. Um, Even though I think that few people in the company knew what they were doing, but I think the majority didn't. But it's all perspective at the end of the day. But it's important to know that if you see a modern company making any accounting practices changes, any fancy stuff that doesn't other profitable companies are not doing, is a warning sign that maybe that company is going through some financial problems, or they're hiding something that they don't want to tell the investor. And Aaron really is a great movie to find the patterns going forward with your research and your next investment. Second movie is Margin Call. This movie, I watched it actually recently, and it blew my mind because it's about the 2008 housing bubble mortgage, where they were selling CDOs, and they were betting, big banks were investment banks were betting that just creating new markets and creating new product bonds to sell to investors that at the end of the day they were worthless. Margin Call really brings the it takes you behind the curtain of investment firms, and how when they found out that the housing market was gonna blow up, how they eventually screw a lot of investors by selling this shitty bond to them, and then once the collapse happened, they washed their hands and they walked away with billions of dollars, leaving all their investors to take the loss. And Margin Call really brings you behind the curtain, and you can see what investing managers told their employees what to do, how to do it, and it's just a wake-up call for us as investors to always be skeptical. And even because we think that our brokers or investment bankers are smart, or the experts of the investment world, we also have to be careful, not take everything they say literally, and you always take it with skepticism, and always do your own research. Never just take whatever they say and go with it. Always be planning, be researching, do your own work, and learn as much as you can. And this Margin Call really brings it out that you can't trust a lot of these investment firms, and you have to do your own work, and eventually you hit a winner. And the third and final movie is called Betting on Zero. It is a fantastic documentary about Bill Ackman. Big goal in this documentary is to expose Herbalife on their business practices and how they've ruined a lot of people and financially by taking their money and giving them a crappy product. We're taking the loss of all the product that wasn't getting sold. So Bill saw this business model, and he wanted it to shorten the Herbalife stock, and he was really public about their business model, and he goes really deep on how much people spend, and how much people were ruined by Herbalife and the products, and how they conducted business with these individuals in this multi-marketing scheme. And Bill wanted it really to bankrupt Herbalife, and because he shorted the stock when they were in their peak, eventually he would have made billions of dollars in returns because he was shorting the market. So he's a little bit more of the so most of the investors are optimism. They expect that it's gonna go up, but he's more a pessimist, where he thinks that a company is gonna go bankrupt, so he shorts it in their peak, and then once it goes bankrupt, whoever took that bet loses all their money, and he gets all the returns of the end. This movie is really important to watch as an investor, no matter where you are, because Bill really exposes Herbalife and their business practices and how much it ruined communities and individuals. Made a lot of people go bankrupt, and they couldn't get out of this hole. And I don't think people hasn't got out of the financial hole problems. So even though he exposed all that, Herbalife actually never went bankrupt at the end of the day. They actually went from the peak that he sold, they actually went up. That's one of the biggest risks of shorting a stock, and Bill took that loss because people, investors, shareholders, stakeholders, they believe that Herbalife was a great company, not ethically maybe, but it was a great company profitably. They were making money. People were excited to be in these multi marketing schemes, and people were willing to give them money to sell Herbalife and make businesses because they thought they could be their own boss. And that was the model that Herbalife were portraying, and maybe it was not the right mindset of the individual, and they eventually lost. Because business in general, if you open a business, there's a high risk that it's not going to be successful in 6 months, a year. So especially in 5 years, a business, I think 50% of businesses fail in 5 years or something like that. But investors and people who saw the financial statements of Herbalife thought that it is a good business, so they invested in it. They didn't care that they were ruining other people's financial life, but it's just something that you need to think about, that sometimes as an investor you need to think, what kind of investor are you? Do you only care about the numbers? Do you like okay, I only care if the company's gonna be profitable and it's gonna keep growing? Or you're the type of investor that only invests in companies that are doing great to this community, is doing helps the community, helps and lift up individuals. That's all depends on you as an investor, but it's great to see this type of movie and put yourself in different situations where you want to be. What about if you were one of the victims that thought that you're gonna have this great opportunity to open your business, by the end you lost? How will you feel? If you're a shareholder and you're getting your dividends every 3 months or whatever, Herbalife, I don't even know if they give dividends, but let's say you got dividends. Do you care if they're scamming or ruin these communities? But hey, you're getting a nice fat dividend. You might be that investor. I'm not judging, but you can be that. There was a bunch of them investing in Herbalife, even though Bill Ackman was telling them, hey, they're doing all these terrible things to the community. Or you want to be like Bill and find companies that are doing bad, short them, and then tell the public, hey, this is what's wrong with this company. Hopefully you bankrupt it, you get rich like that. So it all depends what kind of investor you want to be. And this movie really gives you a different perspective of what an investor is. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully after watching the video, you can go back in history of the investment world, the corporate world, and just business in general world. And it's always important to know the history so you can not make the same mistakes, obviously, of what happened in the history, and also learn from it. Build your own branch from that. That's your foundation, and then you make your own lane, make your own branch out of the big tree, and make your own way of investing and finding new opportunities for yourself or for your family and friends, or make your own business out of it. So, but it's important to know the history of investing and then applying it to the modern world, because it's going to be different. It's going to be the same and different at the same time, but you need to know that, hey, you can't apply some things that you learn from the history can't be applied, and it's all try and error.